Hello, everybody. It's very nice to see you. I'm Doris Põld, CEO of ITL Estonia, IT Association. But today, my role is super easy, I think, because I have great panelists, and just to lead the conversation. And in order to do that in the best way and not to disturb the other panels, what's going around, my first question or ask for you is that please use the headphones. We will silent down a little bit, so we are like in the silent disco move. And if anyone hears the music there, then be free and dance. But I hope that you will hear us and our discussion there. So, further ado, I would like to invite our panelists to the stage so we can go on already with the discussion. All panelists, please, come to the stage. Yeah, that's the right thing.
Yeah, I need to sit here.
Okay, everybody's in the place. So thank you for all you coming. So as I said, I tried to challenge you here a little bit today that to speak about health and how digitalization can transform the health. We already heard before the lunch in the panel, was said in the AI panel that the area where the thinking that the technology will affect the most in the future is the healthcare.
Is health, yeah.
They said it already out, so I don't know, can we conclude now? Done? Or let's see what we have thinkings there, or let's challenge more, but what are the practical things what we can do. But before we go into the questions to you, I have one question also to the audience. And this question will be on the screen. I hope that you all will answer that. It's not a super easy question, but it's with answers, your possibilities for you.
Yeah.
So please use it, use the QR code and answer to the question. I promise that afterwards we come back to that question in order to ask it already reflections from our panelists here. Because I think that it's quite interesting what will come out from there, that what is our challenge and what is holding us back there. But yeah, I hope everybody can answer. And right now I would like to go then start the discussion, and maybe we can let's start with easy questions, let's say in this way, for the beginning. And my first question would be maybe for you, Sandra, as you are responsible of food and health safety in the EU. And taking that into consideration, what do you see as the most promising innovations that digitalization can bring to the healthcare?
Yeah. Thank you, and I'm sitting next to a former commissioner who was much more responsible than I am for health. So, and now, you know, an MEP that we hope is going to help us in this battle.
Yes.
So, let me say to you, you were saying, yes, people think they are affected in health more than most for digitalization. And I would say the second question is how? And so you rightly asked, are there innovations? Well, you know, the first innovation that is very clear to us all is AI-powered diagnostics. I'm reading every week new articles about this. You can enhance diagnostics in many ways across many medical fields. Suffice for us to have doctors and medics that want that, because that is also a challenge to have them expecting them. You know, AI is trained on vast masses of data, so obviously it can be of help. I will only quote a study that I just read a few days ago. In Sweden, they have, I would say, a chance of detecting 20% more breast cancers through AI than going simply with a diagnostic with the doctor. So these are numbers. The second thing that is interesting, and we need to be ready for that, is the twins, the digital twins. You should have a digital twin. You should have something that somehow profiles you with all your genetic, but also clinical and lifestyle bits and pieces. And on that, many doctors are banking that you can have your own personalized therapies tested first and being even more effective when they are applied to you. Here, I would like to say that we discovered that many of the pharma companies, 85% of them, are playing this game. They want to have this sort of digital twin. I would like to say that with the EHDS, we are helping pharmaceutical companies a lot, and we would like to have a renvoi d'ascenseur in the pharma review, if I may, so that, you know, at the end of the day, we gave you the access to the data, but you help us have more, I would say, affordability, if I can use that term here. Now, there is a third thing that is very important, but there it's a bit already going on, is the real-time monitoring of patients. You know, you have these healthcare ecosystems where, you know, a patient goes out, has a machine, is being monitored all the time. This will be in the future even, I would say, more important. Today is for 30% of the chronic conditions, but of course the sky is the limit for this. And I would like to say that all those wearable devices that even ourselves have, even if we need to say the diagnosis is only a doctor that can give you, it's very useful to have for fibrillation. My partner had very serious heart problems, and having something that tells you your heart is going bonkers, it's not totally, I would say, bad. So I would say you have asked me about the innovations. You don't want to know about the challenges, do you? Because the challenges we are already seeing. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Let's keep the positive side right now. And, you know,
positive side, I'm very optimistic that we will change the way we deliver treatments through this big thing that is the digitalization.
Okay, and I think it's excellent to go on here with tennis. You already, like Sandra introduced you already, that like a former EU Commissioner of Health, and listening right now what Sandra is saying about the innovations. And what do you think? What in the policy-wise should be done in order to make these innovations really into practice? Yeah, I start with the easy ones.
First of all, I will take your final sentence. We should deliver.
We should deliver, yeah.
Should deliver.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It sounds very encouraging to all of us. We should deliver.
Yeah.
And it is time to say that it's up to us to join our forces, to create powerful teams, to invite much more actors, to have multidimensional and multi-sectorial cooperation together. Yeah. Otherwise, we will see a lot of challenges which are here on this screen. You know, lack of interoperability across member states. We should deliver. We should raise questions about necessity to cooperate, to strengthen their cooperation. Can you imagine how it was difficult to realize, you know, that we proposed on voluntary basis to establish European reference networks for rare diseases, low prevalence diseases, and multi-complex diseases. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big segment in the EU. 35 million people, especially children and adolescents, are suffering now from genetically determined and different types of rare diseases. And then low prevalent, of course, rare cancers. And when I propose to establish a reference network, appetite to cooperate in 2015 was very low one. Why? Can you tell me why? Now I'm speaking about, because in all our minds it's strange old idea. It is national competence. It's national,
not very strange.
Don't touch interoperability because it's national competence.
So that should be the policymakers' priority, as I understand.
It's when I am very practical. I am cardiosurgeon. I don't like word politics. I don't know what does it mean. I am a medical doctor. I was commissioner and I delivered. And now we have excellent opportunity to use European reference networks. It's excellent pan-European infrastructure. 1,600 university hospitals are united, all, of course, with IT tools. Because those platforms create possibility not to patient go into the diagnostic center, but diagnosis follows patients where they are on the ground. And it is, of course, you just raised question about how can we improve with digital accessibility, no doubt. Patient data protection, no doubt. Trust is must. And here, you know, all attacks on hospitals, you know, stealing data, create a lot of distrust in our societies. And why we are just speaking about cyber security of hospitals, about security of those infrastructures, digital infrastructure, because it can diminish trust. And then without trust, you have no chance to encourage patients to follow advices and to see, to connect your primary practitioners or specialized treatment, you know, entities, and to see how can you, you know. And trust now is up to us to say. And of course, inequalities. Now we see literacy, problems with digital literacy, those are very big ones. When we are in our such bubble, you all are know better as me because you all are equipped with IT knowledge. But when you look into territories, especially in underdeveloped territories, you can find medical deserts, and also you can find digital deserts.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? It was for me very strange. When I traveled from Brussels to Strasbourg, when you are going through Belgium, Luxembourg, and crossing French borders, no access to phone call because it's it. And then you see 3G, 4G, 5G. And this is now reality. Where we are staying and on the ground. It's about our possibilities to extend and expand capacities in digital and access to digital. But without digital infrastructure, without possibilities to invest into digital infrastructure, especially now in our times when we are facing a lot of challenges, crime and so on, it is so important once again to understand. That, and of course, finally, it creates a lot of problems with possibilities to deliver treatment to people. Because treatment now requires a lot of IT, you know, capacities. Starting with diagnosis, you know, it's like you know, screening, scanning, and so on. We have no chance to move forward. But it's up to us now to say, I can. But later, I can tell you, I have an idea, one big idea.
Sorry to interrupt you for a moment, because otherwise, our time is ruthless there. But I liked very much your analogy about the desert, that we have a health desert and digital desert. And going on here with the private sector side, then, how we can go over of that desert, that what kind of technologies how do you see that technologies will this kind of affect the future health scheme in Europe?
Yeah. That's a brilliant question, and I'm happy that I have heard many of the most important words that are also relevant as technology and digitalization, AI. But maybe I'll step one step behind and first of all saying I'm happy to be here and representing the medtech industry from healthcare, because most of the time we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about pharma, which is as important as medtech, but we are not really talking about screening, therapy, and all the devices that are also relevant. And this is one of the biggest topics that we are having right now in the world. And it's not about creating fear here, but if we consider the numbers of staff shortage that we will be seeing in the upcoming years, that's a tremendous topic that we are having right now, that we are seeing in Europe. Right now, I think we have like 1.3 million workforce missing in Europe, and the WHO predicts that it will get to 11 million in the world, but in Europe 4 million. And that means someone of us or someone of our relatives being in a clinic will not be having a skilled person to treat them or to have the diagnostic or to take care of them. And it's not so far away. So we have to be conscious that the medtech is something which is important, and staff shortage in this area, it's a huge topic that we are addressing. And where I see that we can bring a solution is definitely with digitalization and with AI. And I give you an example to be concrete. So for those of you who don't know, when we talk about MRI or MRT, I call it always it's the do not that is making some noise when you get inside to get a picture in order to get a diagnosis. Then we used to have a program which takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the diagnosis that you want to have. Let's talk about the knee, for example, and it's like 10 minutes. And now through AI, with a program that is called Deep Resolve, we are able to make it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That means for the professionals, they can see more patients. And for the patient, it's more easy to get this kind of diagnosis. And that's a concrete example where AI can help us solve the topic of staff shortage, and which can also maybe fill this desert from the digitalization point of view.
Thank you,
as
Amira.
one example.
Yeah. As I promised that we try to keep the discussion in the positive side, then approaching to you, Alexander, but what do you think? Do we have any places where we can say right now that here Europe standouts excel in matter of healthcare, in the healthcare when we think and using of technologies?
Sure, and also very happy to be here and making the bridge between here the other panelists. I'll represent a pharma company, Bristol Myers Squibb, and I'm a physician myself and an academic. So I bring the world of view from those different angles, and Europe has an incredible foundation. Right, and that foundation is based on world-class institutions, is based on the ability to have digitalization from every single of the members, and the fact there's a commitment to universal care. So with those pillars, there's an incredible foundation to be a source of diversity in the AI databases, and also with the AI Act and with the European Health Data Space is creating the infrastructure to move to excellence with cybersecurity and with confidence. So when we think about that context, it looks like that the foundation is there. So how do we excel from that in Europe? I think the audience pinpointed to that, right? It's a fantastic help. And Amira also mentioned the interoperability issue. It's a key one. And we live through that pain. And when I say we, I also talk as a patient. Right, we live through that pain if we are in one state member and then we go from Portugal to Spain or from Spain to France and whatsoever. So that's really a key one. And when we think about the opportunity for innovation and from the global footprint as the company that I represent, that is really something that it really needs to be there because the opportunity is global and broad. So that's what I would like to see next.
Okay. So I have a secret to tell you. Actually, our panelists, they already see the answers of the poll, what you answered. But I think now it's the right time to put it also to the screen and that you can see what
was a big competition
and what they mentioned already here, some of what we see, what you said, what is the main challenge. And it was many times said out already that the lack of interoperability across the member states. Coming from Estonia, I totally understand it. Practical example. We have a digital prescription, and I can, with my digital prescription, buy also medicine from Finland, cross-borderly, from Portugal. But I can't have my medicine in Brussels. So when something happens, I can call to my doctor. I can ask for the prescription, but I can nothing to do with it here. So this is the lack of interoperability, definitely, that I'm a European citizen. Why can't I have it wherever? I think. But with other topics here, it's quite, let's say, tie. We see that the concerns about data privacy, security issues. So I think it's something what you mentioned already, that is trust.
Yeah.
Trust. Yep.
Is anyone wants to comment it here more? What you say?
You know, I will comment from a different angle. You know, in 2016, we started this pilot project about e-prescription between Tallinn and Helsinki.
Yeah.
It was European Commission pilot project.
And I love it now.
Yeah. And you see, we achieved something. But how many years it takes?
Exactly.
And our second pilot project was the exchange of patient records between Luxembourg and Czech Republic. We decided to see much broader distance because, you know, 40 kilometers from Tallinn to Helsinki, it's not the problem. But from Luxembourg to Prague is, and we delivered also possibilities to see how are we capable to guarantee exchange of patient records. Now you see that we are in problems with a much broader problem. But you just rightly mentioned situation. Lack of investments at member states level, lack of understanding about necessity to use different tools which are now in our hands. Speaking about statistics, because we need to understand, we need to have statistics, we need to have data, we need to have, possibilities to notifying bodies can provide to industry, right to access their market, but mutual recognition, very simple word. Yeah. Very simple instrument. We need to send message to all 27 governments and parliaments. Mutual recognition. Possibilities to them, especially if we are so capable to see you are very lucky now to use e-prescription from Brussels till Tallinn, I don't know.
No.
No.
Not in Brussels, so not
shame on us. Shame on us. From 2015 till 2025, colleagues, 10 years. And we are in the same situation.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely right. I'm also reminding you that you can ask questions from our dear panelists. So afterwards, we see what are the questions also from the audience. So from Slido, you can ask. But
I would like to maybe add one comment also, because it's a difficult question and it depends on the perspective. Where are you looking at it? And even though the last answer was about investment in the infrastructure, I would assume that all the other aspects will only happen if we invest enough in the infrastructure. And talking about like EHDS, if we really implement it the right way and we invest enough so it's done in a seamless way, then we will get to interoperability. So I think we should not underestimate that everyone or every country, the Europe has to invest, in my opinion, definitely more in the infrastructure, at least from the medtech and from the industry perspective. That will not happen just because we say we need to do it. We have to invest in it.
Amira, you brought out a very good point, actually, on the topic of European health data space.
But may I stress one important point here. In Lisbon Treaty, you can't find no one word about digital. You can't find. In Lisbon Treaty, can you imagine? It was adopted in 2008, and please read Lisbon Treaty. No one word. But we are speaking about digital union. Because now it means that we are just speaking about possibilities of shared competences in this field. Why I'm arguing about necessity to revise Lisbon Treaty? Because we need to have shared competence in digital and to include digital in Lisbon Treaty and to create much bigger, much stronger European Union entity. We can compete globally. We can be leaders in this very difficult time. But it's up to us now to encourage all of us to understand what can we do now immediately. Otherwise, you will see a lot of differences between different member states. Shared competences. Shared ones, once again. When I'm speaking of food safety, we have shared competences. When you're speaking healthcare, completely banned.
Thank you, Fitnelis. Very, very passionate and I think right to the point. But I would like to come back to you already mentioned European health data space, and Sandra, to you with that question that right now, like European health data space soon entering into force, and what you see, like what needs to be done and what are the key steps to ensure that this.
So let me reply to your problem in terms of why you can't use the electronic, I would say, recipe. I will be very frank with you. We have, by the end of this year, we will have 20 member states. So there are 20 member states where you could already use that. We have been working quite a lot on this. So I must say My Health at EU is, I would say, the primary use. And then there is Health at EU is the secondary use. So these things we have already in some member states, they are already using it. So we hope that Belgium will soon join. The usual problem is that they went ahead on their own system, so it's always very difficult to revert to a European system because, you know, it's quite demanding. Now, a few things that I want to say that we are trying to do with more than 20 delegated acts, because, you know, the Parliament approved 2 weeks ago the piece of legislation. It will be published on the official journal on the 5th of March for anyone who wants to have the read of the final product, but I'm sure that you have read it several times already in all the websites that we have. So I must say that the questions were a bit giving already an indication. Myself, I voted for the investment. If you want to know, my personal choice was that we do not have sufficient investment. We do not have the money. We do not have the European money. I want to be very clear, especially in front of a member of parliament. We have to depend on DG Connect. That gives us a bit of money. DG Connect, Roberto Viola is my best friend. We basically work hand in hand. Many of these ideas that we have worked on them not just together, but you should see we just had a meeting this week on a specific topic of the influence of social media on, let's say, specifically adolescents and kids. So for him, big praise, because he's giving me a bit of money, but it's not enough. It's not enough. So fragmentation. That's the first thing that is afflicting us, and we need to remove that fragmentation. We hope that little by little, with what we are doing, we will have the ability to have a better situation. There will still be a hospital in one country next to another hospital still in the same country that will not be able to communicate, because this is one of the challenges. You come from Estonia. This is not understandable to you. Estonia, by the way, is one of the champions in the council for the EHDS. You were always very, very supportive. We thank you from our heart. Also in the moments when there was big issues concerning the trust, because that is an element that is back there. There's a second element that is complicated, and we will need to fix it through our legislation, which is going to be tertiary legislation, but it's already included in the primary legislation. It's the bias in data sets. Data sets tend to be very biased, and the lack of non-diverse data, well, stultifies all your research. If you don't have good data that are diverse, that give you a diversity in population, well, then you are stuck. I would say that Europe has a real advantage, because we have quite a diverse, I would say, diverse population demographics, so we should be able to make good of that. I would say that it is clear that by ensuring that there is a seamless connection, this thing of the differentiated data sets should be resolved. We have also another thing that blights all of you as patients, is the repetition of tests. And the repetition of tests is exactly because there isn't enough communication. So you go to the doctor and it says, well, okay, we need to do again this test, which is quite pathetic also for the coffers of the state, because it's quite expensive. We're talking about a big bulk of analysis that should not be repeated. I will not mention numbers because they are atrocious and they depend a bit on the different traditions in the member states. I think that it's extremely important that we also imagine a world where the research and the breakthroughs will happen thanks to the innovation in AI. And here I want to mention my own experience. My own experience was that during COVID, I will not mention the name of the drug, but we had devised through AI a drug that was equivalent to another drug. But the other drug, I would say, the drug that we had devised digitally cost 25 euros. The other drug was costing 700 euros, and it was quite difficult. We never managed to have this drug authorized or going through, because the startup simply disappeared before the end of COVID. I would like to conclude with one thing that you need to be really aware of. We spend 1 trillion every year on healthcare. So unless we apply AI, as was mentioned here, unless we go with some tools, our expenditure will be totally unsustainable. So AI is better treatment, because it's personalized, but it's also sustainable economically. This is why we would like to have digitalization with all the tools. It's not just AI, all the tools that come down from the digitalization more and more used in Europe.
Thank you, Sandra. Boy, I'm happy that we're recording this session with this first promise. But I think right now we don't have very much time, so I will skip my questions. You have given us so many good materials. I see already the good questions here. And next question I would like to ask from you, Alexander. That taking into account what Sandra said here and about the European digital health data space, so now let's speculate. Can you speculate how long it will take for private sector R&D to be able to access to the health data space and to advance the innovation from there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And there's two ways of answering it. One is how ready are we? Right? Because we are ready for yesterday. And the other one is how it will pan out and by when. And the reason why I'd say that we are ready yesterday is because I think it's important to share how much of AI and digitalization is already taking place in the world that I'm living in within the drug development company. So when we think about drug development, it's important to realize there's a likelihood of failure that can reach 90%. So there's a lot that goes into solutions that won't see light of day. And the time span to develop a drug in average is 10 years. And the same way that our healthcare system is going to be sustainable, this is not sustainable. So AI is penetrating through all the angles and the digitalization through all the angles to accelerate this. And it's already happening. And it's happening since the discovery, so since the discovery of compounds, with the use of digital twin technology, with the use of simulations. It's happening for the design of clinical trials, for the better identification of patients, and finally, with the ability to diagnose better, because it's diagnosing better and diagnosing more to bring the right drug to the right patient at the right time. So currently, my team is working on digital solutions to help patients to understand side effects before they feel them. So there are significant side effects in some drugs, as we all know, especially cancer drugs. And if we have the ability of identifying those side effects before the patient has perception that they're going to happen, that allows people to be at home instead of being under the surveillance at the hospital, so decreasing the health cost expenditures and the uncomfortable for the patient to be in the hospital in a safe environment. So that's the goal of some developments that we are doing. And it's also important to introduce that this means that in a lot of cases, we're going to be seeing drug with device, drug with technology associated to that. So it's also the reason why I'm bringing this, it's because it's important to associate if our regulatory bodies are looking at this in this way, so we can have the regulation prepared for devices, has devices adjunctions to drugs. And this is changing so fast. The conversation that we are having today is not a conversation from 1 year ago. And that's also into your pointers of being positive, right? On the positive note, because it has been a speed of understanding because of the technology readiness and because of our overall ecosystem readiness. Because we are starting to use AI in our phones and we are used to it and we are less scared. And we are changing the scope of what really can be for the good of the society. So long story short, I would speculate that the private sector is ready. Is ready to use and eager and looking forward to it. So hoping that we can address it for tomorrow. That's my goal.
Okay. As the time is ruthless, then I think we only short answers can have now.
Okay. Yeah.
That I was looking at Vitenis, you like very passionately also spoke about the skills what we need and different gaps what we have, and then here is the question that what strategies should Europe implement?
Can I answer first question?
The first
Can
question?
you speculate how long it will take for private sector R&D to
you want to have Alexander question instead of that, yeah? Okay,
Look,
I let you choose you.
I can tell you.
But the short
Very
answer.
short, very short. I have in my hands draft proposal. I can hand over to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
My idea is
What about
now
that?
to present to you draft and proposal. Let's see what can we do. We have a letter report which called much more than market report. And let us stress, The importance of research and innovation in driving the single market future success, a core proposal is the introduction of a fifth freedom, the freedom for movement of knowledge. Second, Draghi report. Draghi report proposed a vision for a more dynamic, innovative and sustainable European economy. It calls for establishing a research and innovation union, fostering public and private collaboration and investing in cutting-edge technologies and world-class innovation hubs in life science. And third one is Hayter report.
Yeah.
Align, act, accelerate. And Hayter report said, a roadmap to strengthen Europe's R&D ecosystem ensures that Europe remains at the forefront of scientific and technological progress to address pressing societal challenges and drive sustainable growth. It calls for a mission-oriented approach to research and innovation. And I am proposing to establish ecosystem based on European reference networks. Now we have 1,600 hospitals. We have more than 28 pathologists united. I am calling you, please join us. And I am hand over this our draft proposal because we are ready to discuss those issues and in 1 year to establish pan-European ecosystem, inviting digital, inviting all actors together, pharma and so producing new technologies, new devices, new orphan drugs, testing our genomic situation, joining. We have a lot of elements in our hands. Only one way, political will and act, and in 1 year we can establish this, such ecosystem.
Thank you, Vitenis. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it seems for me that right now is the moment that having like giving a letter to Santa Claus or giving out the requests. So I would like to give a similar possibility then for you, Amira and Alexander, that if you can make like one very, let's say, concrete request to policymakers, what it would be, both of you, because Vitenis already did his one.
May I take 3, and that will be in a short
one.
Yeah. Investing in the infrastructure. Important more than ever in order to make all the topics that we have talked about reality. And that includes also upskilling the workforces. The second thing is regulatories. We don't need any regulatories anymore, if I might say it this way. We need a vision together as Europe in order to align pharma, medtech, and all the stakeholders create this ecosystem. But for that, no further regulation, but cutting the red tape. And the last one, my last wish would be incentivize innovation, because we need another mindset. If we compare ourselves to other geographies, we need another mindset in order to tackle the challenge that we have, and that to making innovation something which is really serving for us.
Thank you. Alexandra?
Thank you. I follow what Amira said. I fully agree with the 3 asks, so I feel very fortunate that I can add to it. Because, so I would like to link first off with the digital infrastructure and bring it further to the digital literacy of the population. I'm very passionate for patient empowerment, and the patient of tomorrow is not a patient of today, and the patient should be really well informed. They are their best advocate, and they will know more than the healthcare providers that they will see when they start there. So that digital literacy is something that I think it's really important overall. And the other angle, it's really on the regulatory scope of medtech and the addition of digital as a medical device to the component of the medicine itself. We should expect that the drug can come with something that is not just a drug. And that space needs to be easier to navigate so patients can benefit further, and the overall European Union can benefit faster of the innovation that can happen here and all across the globe.
Thank you. I think it's only fair when I give a short comment word to Sandra, that what you do with these proposals and requests.
So let me be very clear. EHDS is a revolutionary piece that nobody has, and we will have, and it's going to somehow impact on the single market. Do we want to speak numbers? Do we want to speak money? So the private sector will have a boon, and we need to somehow levy on this boon whatever is needed for the health systems. Because I repeat, our health systems are not in a good state of health, in the sense that their sustainability financially is quite difficult. So we need to find a way to dialogue. So we are creating something revolutionary. No one else will have it. We will exploit it. The second thing you need to bear in mind is that this will require a lot of trust. And the trust, we have a double game here. Some countries are particularly worried about cybersecurity, for medical devices in particular. We want to say that there is a very clear vetting in this respect, and that there should not be panic discussions concerning the medical devices and cybersecurity. On the other hand, this is an angle that we definitely need and want to cover if this is something that the member states experience as a problem. What they experienced as a problem, for sure, is the ransom attacks on their health systems, be it hospitals or others. So on that we have acted. First piece of legislation of the Ursula II, I would say, President von der Leyen, a new mandate. It was cybersecurity in hospitals. I'm very proud that we were really the first. We worked throughout Christmas. So we are not sleeping. We are having quite a lot of work. At the end of the day, it's also a problem of uptake on the other end, meaning you do not have still your electronic, I would say, a recipe readable here, because a member state is not taking up My Health at EU. We hope this will soon happen. It's not a problem of competence only, it's also a problem of, I would say, capacity, training, and so on and so forth. So for me, there are many nuggets of gold, including the ERNs, but let me say, for us now, the real problem is getting out all the tertiary legislation to get all the member states to be able to, by law, do what they need to do.
Thank you, Sandra. As you see that...
Oh, to you.
So, yeah, for concluding, as you see, time flies very fast when you're together with the bright people. And we could speak already longer. What I hear here is that, let's say that the technology isn't a problem here, or obstacle. Technology is here. We have. So we need more, like, let's say, bolder decisions, faster decisions, in order to simplify, in order to start to use technology, and unified decisions.
And money.
That's, yeah,
money.
And investments, of course.
We need money.
But money comes with good ideas. If you think simple things, I believe
event
there.
that we have on the 18th of March, and perhaps you will have a further flavor of what we want. You know, we are having a big event on digital that is going to be quite big. So come, join
little
us.
Promotion also.
But it is very important
our
to
discussion. We have a small promotion also here. So
18th
very nice.
of March. I'm waiting for you.
But yeah, as I understand, we are quite passionate because health concerns everybody. Yeah. For us, everybody, health concerns us. And with that, I would like to conclude and thank you all for being in this panel.
Bravo, Dennis. Thank you.